Rome did not fall because of the barbarians. It did not collapse because of a single war or a dramatic betrayal. Rome fell when its own money stopped working. For centuries, the Roman Empire was the greatest economic power of the known world. Its currency, the denarius, was accepted from Britain to Asia Minor because it had something fundamental: real value. It was made of nearly pure silver, which meant that each coin represented real work, real resources, and tangible wealth. The Roman economy functioned because people trusted its money. Merchants accepted payment without hesitation, soldiers trusted their wages, and the state could collect taxes without massive resistance. Everything worked because there was an invisible but essential foundation: trust. But maintaining an empire is expensive, and it becomes more expensive over time. Standing armies, vast borders, bureaucrats, public works, and social benefits to keep the population calm. Eventually, Rome began to spend more than it produced, and when a state reaches that point, it always faces the same historical crossroads. It can raise taxes and risk rebellion, it can cut spending and weaken its power, or it can manipulate the money. Rome chose the third option. It did not announce it or debate it openly, it simply began reducing the amount of silver in each coin. The denarius still claimed to be worth the same, but it was not. It was a carefully disguised illusion. At first, it worked. There were more coins in circulation, more payments, and a temporary sense of relief. But the problem did not disappear, it was only hidden. And as always, reality eventually caught up with the deception. Merchants began to notice that the coins weighed less, that the metal was worse, that they needed more denarii to sell the same goods. The response was inevitable. Prices rose. The Roman citizen began to realize that his wages bought less, that food was more expensive, that his effort was worth less. On paper, nothing had changed. In reality, he was becoming poorer. This is inflation. It is not simply rising prices, it is the silent loss of purchasing power. It is working the same or more and living worse. It is an invisible transfer of wealth from the population to whoever controls the money. Rome did not print paper bills, but it did something just as dangerous by debasing its currency. Every time the state needed to cover higher expenses, it responded by minting more lower quality coins, more money chasing the same goods. The vicious cycle had begun. Soldiers demanded higher pay because their wages no longer covered their needs. The state responded with even more debased coins. Prices rose again. Trust continued to fall, until a critical point was reached. People no longer trusted the denarius. They demanded payment in real gold or turned to barter. Taxes became difficult to collect because no one wanted to give real value in exchange for a currency that kept losing worth. Trade slowed, cities emptied, and the economy fragmented into local, distrustful, closed markets. Rome still existed on maps, but economically it was already dead. When the invaders arrived, the empire did not collapse because of the final blow, but because it had been hollowed out from within. Without a functioning economy, without trust in the system, without incentives to produce or trade, no army could be sustained. The fall was only the visible consequence of a long and silent process. Here lies the central lesson. Money does not have value because of laws or decrees. It has value because people believe in it. When that trust breaks, everything else begins to fail. Inflation does not destroy societies overnight. It slowly erodes them, wears down cooperation, encourages short-term thinking, and pushes people to protect themselves individually. Less investment, less long-term vision, more fear. Economies do not die because of numbers. They die because of collective psychology. Rome never believed it was destroying its system. It believed it was managing urgent crises. It believed these were temporary measures. That is the greatest danger, because almost every collapse begins with that phrase. The story of Rome is not just an ancient lesson, it is an uncomfortable mirror. It reminds us that real wealth is not created by manufacturing money, but by producing value, that spending more than you generate always ends the same way, and that when a state confuses the quantity of money with real wealth, the ending is already written. Rome did not fall in a single day. It fell coin by coin, decision by decision, ignoring clear warning signs. History does not repeat itself exactly, but it rhymes with terrifying precision. And the question is not whether these lessons exist, but who learns them and who is doomed to repeat them.